Thought I'd get it out of the way.
Yeah. I'm going to come up with something eventually. We don't know yet. Yeah.
Is this going to be the usual time to go for the pregame warm-ups?
Yeah.
Doc, what does Mac have to do to become an everyday player in this league?
Mac?
Mac McClung.
You know, I haven't seen him much, honestly. That he's been down in the G League, so I don't have the answer to that. I've always stayed out of that and have allowed those guys to evaluate. It would have been easier for me to tell you something if he was in our training camp and we saw him, but we signed him after that. Once the season starts, you typically don't get a chance. You know, they like him. They like his grit. They like his toughness. So I think those are things that he needs to keep doing, and you know, probably become a point guard. Yeah.
PJ has gotten, even going back to before the break, gotten more opportunities to take those corner threes.
Yeah.
What sort of led to that, maybe just opening up a little bit?
They've been there.
Yeah.
No, I'm just being honest. They've been there, and you know, I thought early in the year, you know, he's been there, and early in the year, I don't think he got it a lot, as much as he should have, and then when he was getting it, he was passing them up, so it was a double whammy. Now I think he's getting it a little bit more, and I think he's looking for the shot a little bit more. So I would say that would be it.
I think 2 out of every 3 the rest of the way for you guys is on the road. The schedule's what it is.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I tell our guys that. I tell all our analytical people, like, can we change it? You know what I mean? They keep want to have these schedule meetings, and I was like, they're not going to change it. I swear to God, we're going to play Dallas tomorrow in an absurd game, in my opinion. But it is what it is. You know, they're sitting at home waiting. The game's at 6:30 there tomorrow. I mean, it's just absurd. But it is what it is, and everyone goes through this. It's not just us. But this is a brutal stretch down the stretch of the season. You don't see that often, but it is what it is. So
You still go out west, too, right?
we still got a West. You know, a couple of those are separated though, which helps, and we'll be fine. We'll get through it. You know, the key is winning as many of these games as you can during this stretch, and then and being healthy. You have to try to figure out both. And you know, it's a little more difficult late because early, if this was early in the year, you would rest guys way more, you know, because you want to get through the year. You know, in the second half, you're really trying to ramp guys up more, and that's a tougher task when you have the amount of games we have.
So how do you fix it? Fewer games? More games?
I'm not a fewer games guy. Maybe I was going to say old or just old school. I don't know. I'm probably a little bit of both. You know, I guess you could stretch the season another week. You know, it doesn't take much to stretch some of these games. I still think when you're in areas, stay in that area. I mean, I'll give you an example. We're going to Texas 3 separate times. You know, that's ridiculous. You should go to Texas once and play all 3 teams. You know, when you go to Sacramento, you should play Golden State. You know, Portland, get them. You know, Utah. You know, there's ways of doing it that way. We're getting better at that. You know, now when you go to LA, you play both teams. Probably coaches don't like that because guys are in LA too long. I'm not sure about that, but I do think there's ways to kind of get it better, and we have to do that. We have to do better.
So with all that said, how do you sort of plan to manage overall this 5 and 7 with all of the travel and the 2 back-to-backs?
We'll manage it. You know, I'm not going to give the trade secrets, but we'll manage it. I don't know if there are secrets anyway, but we'll manage it the best way we can through our analytical guys, our science guys, and through our guys, you know, listening and watching how they're moving and playing.
There's something to some of PJ's best games have been against the Sixers, like the hardest teams against.
Yeah, I do think there's something to that. I think they're bigger games, and PJ is. That's why you have PJ. He's tough. The good teams are all tough. You know, the good teams are serious. They're physical. They play hard. They execute. And PJ is great in those games. You know, and so yeah, I do think there's something to it for sure.
How important has he been just in terms of his communication? You always hear kind of like guys like Obi, Jamel, is always kind of crazy. What do you think of his perspective?
He's been amazing. I just wish, honestly, that they would join. You know, he is, and maybe it's because he talks so well on defense that I just hear his voice. But I mean, there's been a couple practices where I take PJ out because I want to hear if anybody else is talking. You know, and teams that talk, man, it's just so important defensively. It just eliminates all mistakes. You don't have switching mistakes. You don't have transition D mistakes when guys are getting threes. And that's where, as a team, we have to grow.
Doc, I was going to ask you about pace in the last game.
Yeah.
Ideal pace for you guys. It looks like you are a little bit slower and more deliberate with Harden and Embiid, and then when Maxey comes in, you're playing at a faster pace.
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to accomplish?
Yeah, I think over the last 5 or 6 games we've played slower than we've played all year. We got to get back to. We're not going to play at the Maxey pace. You know, no one can play at that pace. But we do want to get the ball up the floor. We want to get in our offense, start our offense. You know, our goal is 18, and then we want to move the ball. Of late, you know, in the game the other night, I swear it looked like 12 seconds, and we're making our first pass. You know, I think 60% of our possessions were 0 to 2 passes. You know, and we were like 0 point whatever. You know, in those possessions. That's not how we want to play. That's not how we've played when we've played well. So we got to get our pace back up for sure.
I'm just curious on your thoughts on over here, back here. Just curious on your thoughts on somebody like Kevin Love at this stage of his career, changing teams mid-season, and then based on the last time you guys just played, how he changes the look of Miami's offense.
He's just a great passer. He's a great shooter, and he's a great rebounder, and he can do that even when old. You know, he's smart. On veteran teams that are trying to win in the playoffs, IQ often is far more important than athleticism. You know, not that I'm ever accuse him of being a super athlete, but you know, we wanted him. We tried to get him too. I know it was us in Miami, and probably one other team, and you know, he's just a solid player. And more importantly, honestly, I think even if it hadn't worked here, like let's say he hadn't played well, you still want him in the locker room. You know, he's still high character. He's won a title. He knows what it takes. So he brings a lot of stuff to teams, you know, and he's going to really help this team.
Jimmy Butler refers to himself as a gambler, the stealing, success against you guys.
Yeah.
How do you combat that this upcoming game? Jimmy being able to read?
Well, make better passes, you know. Jimmy, he is a gambler, but it's a very smart gamble. Like when he you know, gamblers to me is the guys that they just go for it. Jimmy is pretty smart when he's doing it. He's another high IQ player. You know, all Marquette players are.
Where does he rank on that?
He's number 3. I told you, Jimmy Butler's 3. If you guys need the order again, it's Rivers, Wade, Butler in that order. I don't know how many more times I have to say that.
Make sure it hasn't changed.
Yeah, it hasn't changed. It should change. And it's changed with everybody else in this room. I can guarantee you that. So I don't think I'm in 5. I'm probably in the 5 spot somewhere. Are we done? Thanks, guys. All right, thanks.